It's my dog's bed flipped like partly upside down, and I guess that the AI filter that blurs these videos has decided that it's like part of my shirt or something. I don't know. But hello there. If you're watching this very quick video, then it probably means you are familiar with video game podcast Play, Watch, Listen, which is hosted by myself, a video game writer, Mike Bithell, who is a video game director, and Austin Wintry, who is a video game composer, also featuring a bunch of our friends who work in game dev as guests recently, and the first like 130 episodes also had Troy Baker, who also guests occasionally. Some of you have noticed that the podcast is no longer available on this channel. All episodes except for the 150th have been removed, and the 150th episode will also be removed. They're not actually being deleted or anything though. They've just been unlisted. So now if you want to go back and watch any of the old episodes, if you are on like my YouTube homepage and you go to playlists or podcasts, which should be in the top bar thing, and then you can hit play, watch, listen, they're all still available there. I haven't privated any of them. They're just unlisted. I have also, alongside that, started a brand new channel specifically for play, watch, listen, and for the two other shows that I make that are me talking to game developers, which is Video Game Writing 101, where I just sit down and talk to video game writers, and Video Game Acting or Voice Acting 101, where I talk to different voice actors who worked on video games. So all of the podcasts are now being removed from this channel. Play, Watch, Listen will never be published here again. I will remind people when the show comes out, which is currently every second Friday, that it's on the new channel, because I know it's going to take a little while before people remember this or before I can, make sure that all the people who need to know actually know. As for why I have made the decision to do this, some of you may have noticed recently my regular videos, this webcam keeps freezing, my regular YouTube videos, the non-podcast videos have increased in views a bunch lately. I used to upload a lot more and a lot of different stuff, and in interest of decreasing my workload, because I just felt like I was burnt out all the time, I changed the kind of content that I make. And a big part of that was that I make less content, and it's given me a much better work-life balance already. I think I've only been doing that for like 6 months, and I already feel like I have like a way healthier relationship with making YouTube videos. But it's also meant that the videos that I do make, I spend more time on, and that has led to an increase in views. The increase in views, as it turns out, is really bad for the podcast. I spoke to a few friends who are YouTubers about this and people at YouTube itself about this. Play, Watch, Listen usually always got pretty much the same amount of views. It was like somewhere between 40 and 60, but it has decreased since the rest of my videos started getting more views. It turns out the reason for this is because as the rest of my channel gets more successful and the podcast stays the same, like it has the same audience it's always had and is not growing at the same rate that the other videos are growing, the algorithm, which obviously doesn't know any better, I guess identifies Play, Watch, Listen as bad content. It says, well, these people want to watch all these videos, these new people don't want to watch these videos, so we should stop recommending them. Which basically means that the podcast was not being recommended to even existing fans of that show necessarily, and certainly not any new people. It's not like we really care about growth, thankfully. The supporters we have on Patreon mean that like it's not a show that we're like desperately trying to get clicks on or anything. But it was ultimately just like bad for that show to continue to be on my channel after I made those changes, which is not a thing that I knew would happen when I made the changes. So from now on, Play, Watch, Listen will be on its own YouTube channel, youtube.com/playwatchlisten. Every episode goes up on Patreon first and then publishes on audio podcast services at the same time as it is publishing on this new YouTube channel. The thumbnails will look a little bit different, which is also kind of nice because I don't have to have the logo there anymore to differentiate them from my main channel content, from like just the stuff that I make that is non-podcast. We no longer have to have the little logo on there, so they can just go up as they are. But the idea is just, I was unknowingly, unintentionally hurting the audience of that show by making the content changes that I did, which made the rest of my channel more successful and did not have any impact on the podcast because the podcast didn't change. I feel like I've over-explained this, but I just wanted to be super transparent about it. So none of that content is changing. We publish every second Friday. The most recent episode has a guest who, no spoilers, but has no game dev experience and then just like directed a game that got published by EA, and that's like nuts. So yeah, we'll still occasionally have guests, which is more of a new thing we've been doing. But mostly the show is just me, Mike, and Austin having a good time. But that will now be on its own channel. And I'm sure this will also be good for a lot of people who like the podcast but don't like most of my content, which I know is certainly a thing. Like, that people like watching that show but don't like the rest of the stuff that I make. So it's kind of, they're different audiences at this point, is kind of the point. And the YouTube algorithm gets confused by that and decided that Play, Watch, Listen is in fact not appealing, which I don't think is true. So it's moved. That's all. Huge thank you to everybody who supports the show. Thank you to everybody for watching 150 episodes. It's crazy. We've been doing this show for years. It's like 4 years at this point. It's so nuts, but it's super fun. And hopefully you will join us on the new channel. And man, do I love the way that my channel looks now, though. Now that I've gotten rid of all those podcasts, it's so much more organized. My channel looks, it's just, I feel like the level of order has given me a little bit more peace. And I'm certainly happy to have that too. So yeah, link will be in the description. Check it out. I will post new episodes in the community tab here pretty much every time we publish, just so you have 2 reminders for where you can find the show. But yeah, if you want to go be in our like first 10,000 subscribers, even first 1,000 subscribers, go head over there right now. That's all. Thanks everyone.